If you can, please go outside sometime today or whenever you most feel comfortable, because I feel like life sometimes feels so not real. Like we're living in a game or something, I feel like I'm controlling a character or something. Sometimes it feels like you're watching life from the outside world or something, and it's just. And I think like news, especially coming out with AI and just politics in general, just sometimes feels so like overstimulating that the most basic process of life, going outside and seeing trees and breathing in the fresh air, can be so like different now. And I feel like, you know, since we gain so much experience in life, we get so many habits. We start to have routines and try to have something different. Make something different of today. Whether it's you're trying the same tea, the Earl Grey, try something else like a peach and mango. Have an English tea, have an oolong tea, a matcha, something different today. That same cup of coffee in the morning, maybe change it up. Sometimes, especially when we try to sit in silence, it feels a little bit uncomfortable because we're so used to stress. We're so used to like burning ourselves out constantly and feeling the effects after that we're not used to normal, everyday things. We're not used to sitting in silence for like 5 minutes, I remember when I used to go on Instagram and there would be those videos where it would sometimes be like, sit in silence for 1 minute or something like that, and I literally couldn't. I would just scroll to the next reel or TikTok, and it just showed how much like my dopamine receptors were fried. I uninstalled the app because of that. And I feel like a lot of the time, people try to ignore their feelings, They try to ignore stress, and I don't think we allow ourselves time to actually sit with it and break down if we have to, Because we're always on that grind. We're always trying to get to the next day, and it's just like, eventually that bubble is going to burst. And it did for me. And that's why I went through a whole period of my life that is just, it was a lot, but I feel a lot more comfortable with myself mentally. And I want you to stress that idea with yourself as well. You know how you have those moments where you have something in your mind and you kind of just like want to ignore it? And so you play a video or play music. What if you sat with that, Do you think you would have the strength to sit with it? I don't think so, Sometimes I would do the same. I would look on my phone, I would play music or something. But what if you like listen to yourself for just a second, Try to understand your thoughts just for one moment, even if it feels uncomfortable and you end up playing music or whatever to distract yourself later. That's progress. 1 more second, 10 more seconds with yourself. But I want you to, if you're gonna do something like play music, maybe try going outside, doing something that is less dopamine activating, like try to do something that's stress grounding, that is not with your phone, with your, just, I know I sound like a boomer, but sometimes it really is that damn phone, Like I would feel myself automatically, like without even myself thinking. When I had uninstalled the Instagram app, I would go on my phone and like not even think and try to find the Instagram app, acting like I was gonna go on Reels again. And it just shows how like my body was so craving of that feeling and just was trying to find it. And then I realized like 10 seconds later, I'm like, what am I doing? What was I doing? What was I thinking? You don't allow yourself to think. The most important thing I'm trying to stress in this video is to give yourself peace. Give yourself silence for a little bit so your mind can let out all those thoughts, Talk to someone, go outside, bike, do something that will just let your mind free without flashy images or colors or, even though maybe you feel like it's too far gone, you got to give yourself patience and you got to give yourself the ability and knowing that you can do something. Because as soon as you start to say that oh no, I can't do this, you've already lost. You didn't even try, you know? You got to be able to always give yourself room to do something like that, try something new. Because you can. The truth is you can. It may be sometimes a few steps forwards and a few steps backwards. That doesn't matter. That was progress. So I want you to attempt that today. Just know that this pain or whatever you're feeling won't last forever. So in giving yourself time and giving yourself the effort, it will go away soon. It will get better. Maybe it won't go away perfectly, but it will be a lot better than right now. Thank you for listening to some of my advice, and I appreciate you sticking with me. And I just want to let you know that I'm proud of you, and much love as always, and I'll see you in the next one.